I'd like to welcome you all to our live instructional webinar designed to support the school annual yearbook program. Today, we'll be focusing on the functions that are related to building activity in pages. Specifically, we will be reviewing pages, bleeds, and margins, the toolbar function features, the toolbar design features, templates, click and go templates, custom templates, and themes. This webinar will be approximately 30 to 40 minutes, leaning more towards the 40 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we're going to talk about bleeds and margins, kind of explain what that is. And first, we're going to talk about the concept of the bleed. The reason why we have the bleeds and margins kind of set up right here, all bleed elements. You'll see this little box right here that says all bleed elements must extend past basically this line right here, this little gray box that extends all the way around your pages. Without that, without your background going all the way into this area right here, when we go to print, you may see, here we go. So you may see something like this. We use white paper here, so you may see like a little sliver of white at the edge, and you really don't want to see. That just means that it kind of looks like everything, all the print has been like shifted over a little bit. But what has happened is like the background or whatever you put back there wasn't all the way to this edge. And so um, when we go to trim it, we have a 1/8 inch trim. And so there might be a little plus and minus, and you might end up with a little bit of like this white edge all the way around your paper. So this is why we say if you design anything, make sure it is designed all the way into this uh, gray area right here for the bleed. Next, we're going to talk about this little blue line or this little green area right here. So this green area is like the good area. This is the area that your images can sit in without having to worry about being too close to the edges here. We'll talk about if you want to put pictures up here, you can, but we'll talk about the issues that you may run into here in a minute. But these little two green boxes right here are good areas. You could put anything there. Everything will print fine. There'll be no issues. And so the blue area, you'll see a little blue trim all the way around here. That is the display area or the area where all the images will sit. Now, the red trim line, there is a red trim line. Uh, go back to where we just were. There is a red trim line right here and right here. It is hard to see, but it is right there. So there's a red trim line here and here. And that red trim line just represents the edge of where the book is right there. This little bright red area right here is what we call the no man's land. This is the space in between the safe area and the area where things are going to be trimmed. Now, when we talk about trim, what we're talking about is how the paper is cut. Like I said before, there is a 1/8 inch plus or minus when it's cut. It could be anything, and the plus and minus could be anything from the way the paper is loaded, the how sharp the blade is. It could be the operator. It could be a bunch of different things, but there is a bit of a 1/8 inch plus or minus. All right, so let's go to designer basics, and we're going to talk about the toolbar and tab basics. So first, we're going to talk about the ruler and guidelines. Uh, so right here we have the ruler. We'll just get this one out of the way here. So we got the ruler right here. This is where I pulled those little guidelines right here, and then we have a ruler right here where we could pull another guideline. If we just put your cursor over there, you'll see that goes from a single point to 4 points. And so if you click and hold, you can actually pull a guideline right here. So you can actually set it up to where You want, something like that, or you want something right here. So now all your images are going to be adjusted accordingly. So you can set your images up to maybe like just underneath that and just over here. So that's what kind of what your guidelines are for. Is kind of help you evenly space your images or get them to where you want them to be there on the paper. All right, so let's start with the. We'll go back up here to the toolbar, and we'll go up here to File. Under File, we have several different options. We have Save. We also have a Save icon right here. Those are remember the old 3.5 floppy. Right here, we have the Save icon, or you come up to File and click Save, and then you can save your page. Here we have Save as Template. We're going to talk about that here shortly. We have Save as Click and Go. We'll talk about that shortly here. We'll talk about these two when we talk about templates and Click and Go. So here we have also view as a PDF. So as you're doing your book and you want to view it as a PDF, you can click here. A PDF will open up in another tab, and here you can start seeing your page. And the most important thing is this little black and white dotted line on the side and on the top. That's your trim line. So you can kind of see where images might be starting to trim or where your book might be trimmed, and you can make adjustments accordingly. Next is File. Here we have Undo and Redo. We also have those buttons right here, Undo and Redo. Your standard Cut, Copy, and Paste and Delete. We have Change Background, and we'll talk about backgrounds here a little bit later. We also have spelling right here. Our spelling is not the most robust. It will catch spelling errors, but it will not catch things like it's and it, ITS and IT apostrophe S. So it won't catch the two it's there. It won't catch like the there different theirs. So that's something you're gonna have to go back and make sure you're rereading and double checking all your spelling before you turn your book in. Next is view. And here we're going to talk about this the last two options right here. This facing and single page. Yeah, I'm going to return everything back to normal. All right. So we're going to talk about view and then facing and single pages. If you have students, two staff members for or whoever working on these pages, and you assign one to the left page and one to the right page, and they're both working on the same pages together at the same time. One of the things with this program is whoever saves first takes ownership of the page, meaning the other person cannot save their work. So to avoid this, if you come to view and then click on single page, now the person that was working on the left page can continue working and save all they want, and the person on the right page doesn't have to worry about uh, the person on the left saving. So now if I go to the next page, the person on the right can work on this page all they want, and they don't have to worry about anyone else saving or preventing any kind of save conflict error or anything like that. They can just keep working. So that would be the advantages of switching those pages to a single, but both have to switch it to a single page view. Next, we have arrange. And here we can do a number of different things under arrange. The first thing we can do is lock and unlock. You can also come over to here to the right. You will see a padlock, and then same thing. You can lock an image or unlock an image. Sometimes you may line some things up and you're moving some stuff around. So in order for things not to be misaligned or not to be moved around, The bright red area right here is the kind of the no man's land, or this is the bleed edge right here. So, in I'll talk about this. I'll come back to it here in a minute. So, right here, you can actually lock an image, and then come up to arrange, lock, and lock this image, or lock all the images. And then, if you ever need to move it, you can unlock it. Also, under arrange, you have a function you can bring an image to the front or send it to the back, or bring it up to the front. So if you want to put, kind of stack some images, and you can click that, bring to the front, and maybe sit there and stack some images on top of each other. You also, here we go, let's grab this one and this one. We can also go to arrange, and then we can group these images together. Any grouped image will have this dotted line all the way around it. To ungroup it, you can go to you can click on them and go to arrange and then ungroup, or you can come over here to the right side and you just click ungroup, and here's where your group and ungroup is right here. You can also go to arrange and oh, select these. Here we go. You can align these to the center, to the middle, to the top. Um, so here's your alignment tools right here. We do not have a way to align them, to space them evenly. We just don't have that tool yet. All right, so one thing I want to touch on here real quick, and I'm going to come back to this, is the trim line right here. So let me go back. Here we go. So when placing your images in the trim line, this little gray area right here is your trim line. One thing you want to take into account is there's a chance that the top of this image may be trimmed right here, and it'll be trimmed right here. So that's something you may want to take in consideration when placing images this close to the edge of your book, especially when you're considering most of his head might be trimmed. Most of his head might be trimmed. Now, this is fine, but if this is something like maybe she's, doing a symbol that meant something with some conference or inside joke or whatever, if it's up here, chances are it's going to get cropped or going to get trimmed, and you just kind of lose that whatever that funny moment was. So that's one of the things you may want to consider when taking images this close to the edge. All right, so let's go ahead and let's keep going here. Okay, so let's talk about this toolbar right here. This one's up and down. First, you have pages. Instead of clicking and going back and forth and all this, you can actually just click on pages and then just move up and go, okay, I need to go on that page, or I need to go on this page. And then you can just switch to these pages really quick. Designs right here, these are where your custom templates are and other templates. And we'll come back to this tab a little bit later. Images are where you will find your um, scroll up here, where you'll find your activity and your portrait images. And this is where you can select whatever folder you need to, drag and drop your images there, and then of course resize them accordingly. Let's stop right here and let's talk about the art tab here real quick. The art tab has different little features to it. First was is the image frames. So you'll see different image frames right here, and we'll show you what these image frames do in here in a minute. So you can click and hold one and bring it onto the page. And these are just empty frames. Think of it as a frame you got it at a, on the at Walmart or something like that, or just a frame shop. That's all it is just an empty frame. It's just waiting for a picture to be put into it. So we can come back to our images right here, click and hold, and then just drag our image right there. Now, if we have it too big and we bring an image right here, see this purple? That just means that the frame that we're trying to put it in is larger than the actual image. So we can just come back, maybe shrink it up just a little bit, and then we can drop our images into it. And you can also, anytime you put an image on there on the page, when you go to say, well, I didn't need that one, when you hit delete, it leaves the image frame right there. So you just have to remove it. Next is clip art right here. Clip art, our clip art library is open for you to use. You can use every single piece of clip art we have right here in your book. You could use it all. You, just because you didn't select one of our covers doesn't mean anything. If you want to use something from blocks because you like that J or something like that, and you could just use that right there and just use it in your book and just keep going from there. So next is shapes right here. Now with shapes, I'm going to bring this over here. With shapes, you can use them as filler. So if you're designing, your book right here, and you want to put something, yeah, maybe a little something right here, just a little bit of a filler, just something to kind of take up space. If you click right here in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see this little toolbar that opens up. Every time you click on something, there's a toolbar that will open up right up here at the top. So you can click on this. The first one is color. So let's just select a color. And we want to duplicate this this size of image frame. So we're going to come up here to the right. Right here is the duplicate button. So we can click on this and it duplicates that box. So we're going to put it right here. Maybe we need to copy and paste that one. And then we need to resize it just a little bit because we're going to put it right here and maybe make this box a little bit bigger. So it's just something that can just be a fill. Also, you can do you also can take it and you can also put it behind an image frame if you want. It could be just a bit of a frame. So make it just a little bit bigger than the box. Come up here to arrange, send to back, and now it's in the back of that. Then you can move this around to where it's a little bit even. There you go. You can select them both. Come up here to group or come up here to arrange and group. And you can just group those together. So there you have an image frame with a nice little different backdrop. If you ever need to change the color, just ungroup. You can select that shape, change the background, and then again, just drop the back. Okay, so if I add my pix frames manually on the pages or make changes to the template between the frames, is it even? How do I make sure? Okay, so if you want to make sure that these are even, if you come up here to the toolbar, you can click it. You can see that your mouse changes. Just click and hold, and you can bring down a guideline and put the guideline like just above this image right here. Bring another guideline over. Come up here to the upper right hand corner. You'll see this 82. That's the zoom. So for me, for my screen, fit is 87%. So if I want to go in a little bit more, I can come out to maybe 200. If I need to do it just a little bit more, I can come up and zoom in a little bit more. Then I could take this and kind of just move that up a little bit, move that over to the side, move that up to right there where the bar is, or move that up to the bar. Or I can click on this one holding the shift key, click the orange shape box, click the other image frame, come up to arrange or arrange, and then I can come up to align vertically to the top. And now those are all to the top, and then all I have to do is, while both of them are selected, I can make sure that it is even right there in the corner, and then there we go. Then if it's something that you want to do this three, so if it's something that you just want to do these three and you want to repeat this pattern all the time, because maybe there's a text box, you want to bring a text box over and you want to put text right there, or you want to put a name right there, then all you have to do is select. Here, let's get rid of that text box. Then all you have to do is click and hold, drag and select those right there. Then come up here to group or under arrange and group, and then those are now grouped. So now all you have to do is come up to uh, copy and paste, or come up here to duplicate, and now you can duplicate that. So that way you don't have to keep reinventing something. Okay, so next let's talk, since we're here, let's talk about text. So for text, all your texts are right here. If you ever need to create a new style, you can click add or remove style right here, create your own style. So here we have, you know what, I'm going to delete that. So here we have teacher names. So we can bring this over, bring this up, and then we can stretch this text box right here. Um, Let me zoom in on this real quick because there is something I'm going to show you. Now, when you click on the text box, there is this little piece right here. It's really hard to see, but there is this little box right here to the right hand corner. If I click and hold that, I can drag that, and you'll see there's a line right here that's going with me. I can drag that, say, right here, and let's put it down here at the bottom. This way, and let's just start typing things here. But as we get to the end, like you can see right there, if you look at the bottom, we now have the text continuing on right there. This is a way to continue writing either underneath a photo, or if you have a photo, um, if you have a photo right here, you can actually take this text box, move it right there, and just continue that writing right next to the text box right there. So that's how you can kind of wrap your text. And then if you need to, you could take the one you just did right here, and then you could bring another text box right underneath, and then continue the text right underneath the image. So with the text, let's talk about some of the features of this text right here. You can make the text box bigger. If you ever get a red X, that just means that the text that you wrote is larger than the text box that it's currently in. So to fix that, you can just move it down just a little bit or move it over just a little bit and just make that text box a little bit bigger. Now with the text box selected, you will see this toolbar right up here to the very top. First is your font. So all your fonts that you select are right here. So we can always just change that font at any time. Right? You can also change the size of the text. You can change the coloring. So we can change the coloring of the text. We can come back and if we select this A right next to it, we can actually add a stroke line around it. If we select this box right here, we can actually put a stroke line around the box itself, the text box. And if we select this solid color right here, we can actually fill in that box as well. Then with that selected, this is the stroke style right here. So by adding the color to the stroke style, the stroke will automatically be added. But if you didn't have that color, you can come over here and add a stroke style, and then you can actually determine how thick you want that stroke to be around the box. Here we have the bold, italic, underline. To get this name in the middle, come up to align, and then align center, and align middle. And now that name is in the middle, you can move that up just a little bit, and then you can move that right here to the top of the page, and then just write the teacher's name. If you need to play around with the line spacing, you can move the spacing just a little bit. Maybe you want just a little bit further down, or maybe you need to move it up just a little bit. So that's where that line spacing is right there. So next is this little format and effects. So here you could change the transparency. Right here, drop shadow and glow. So here we can say we want a drop shadow. In fact, let me do this. This would be a better one. I think you'll be able to see it a lot better here. Okay, so if we want to add a drop shadow, we come up to drop format and effects, click on drop shadow and glow, click on drop shadow. Here we're going to change the color. Here you can do the distance, so you can do it as far away from the name or as close to you as you want. I find probably about 8 is good enough. Degree is which basically which way the light is coming in. Think of it as where do you want that shadow? Which way do you want the light, to shine down on or whatever. Opacity right here, just change whether or not you want a solid, strong color, or do you want just a little bit of a hint? I find probably about 40 to 50 is good. The blur changes it from something you can see to just blurry. Usually, I leave the blur alone just because I want to be able to see, the little bit of the shadow right here. So then next is the glow. The only thing with glow is it puts the glow all the way around it, the names, or all the way around the letters. So you can change it to a little more you can see. You can blur it out just a little bit more, or back in a little bit more. Um, Glow is not something I use. Personally, I use a lot of. I use more of a drop shadow than I would use the actual glow, but it's up to you. All right. So next, let's talk about some templates here. Okay, placing templates. So we have quite a few templates right here in under design. And if you go to like our page surfer will have candidates, clubs, galleries. So if you click on galleries, here you will have many different galleries you can choose from for images, special events, and things like that. If you have just a bunch of Cannon Fish or just the activity photos that you want to put on the page, you find one that you like, you click and hold, drag it onto the page. It's going to pop it up. Just click yes. If you want to retain information that's currently on there, and then we're going to click on yes right there. And then it's just that simple to put a template on the page like that. Now, if you see this template and you like this template, or maybe you find another template that you want to use on a page, you can put it on the page just as easy as that. Now, if you want to use this template on multiple pages, instead of going back and trying to find it, you can save this template. So we're going to go over here to File and Save as a template. Now we could do either left page, right page, or both. So we're going to do both, and we're going to save this as. All right, we're going to save that as class. And here, just a minute, please. Your media size is going to basically set the default size as far as center and whatever media size from elementary size. So once we give it a name and we select what pages we want to do it, um, we can click save. Now, once we save, so once we click on save, we can come back to custom, and then we go to my templates. Your my templates right here will be all the currently saved templates that you have or that you have personally saved yourself. To use these, they're very simple. Just click and hold, drag to a page, and they drag just like that. You can go to the next page, click and hold, drag to the next page. It's just like that. So that way you can use those pages. If you have like classroom pages right there that you use every year, you can click and hold and drag those pages onto the page just like that. Now to save any, we talked about that. Click and go. So next we're going to talk about the click and go. So we're going to go back up to design, and then we're going to go under page surfer. We're going to talk about click and go. So some of these are small, it's like little small segments for the yearbook that you can use. So something like that, something like this. There we go. Now, to use these, one thing you need to remember is if you click on it and you see the dotted yellow line, that it is grouped. To ungroup that, just go up to Arrange and Ungroup, or you can go over here and click on Ungroup. Once you do that, then you can type whatever you need to type, or edit whatever you need to edit. So something like that, we just ungroup it, and now we can edit these little segments right here, drop the images, edit this little text box. Once we're done, you can click and hold and select all here, and then you can come back up and group it, and then you can just move it to wherever you need to move it. But all click and goes come grouped automatically on the page. This way you can move it around on the page wherever you need to move it. So just because you put it here, you may decide, well, no, I want to move it over here. So instead of trying to move every single little piece right here that made up this little click and go, trying to move it all safely onto the other side, it just naturally comes uh, grouped together. So that way it's easy to move. Now, if you do make your own, uh, say we made our own little click and go right here, all we have to do is highlight what we want, come up here to File, Save as Click and Go, give it a name, Click on save. Then we can come back up here to custom and then my click and go. And then it's right there. We just click and hold and then bring it onto the page. So you can create your own little custom click and go, whatever. If it's something that's used on underneath every student photo or something like that, just create your own little custom click and go. That way you can just drop it onto the page and move on to the next thing. All right. Then backgrounds. So real quick, we'll talk about backgrounds. Backgrounds are easy to place on your page. You just go to edit and then change background, or you can right click and change background. Here you will have this little pop up right here, left and right page. So currently left page is selected. You can do a solid background color if you want, or you can click on choose image. One thing, once you choose an image, it will always go back. Like the last time I was showing people this or doing this last webinar, we were using C and it automatically came back to C. So if you want, you can use clip art or you can make your own background if you want. But you can come up to maybe like theme um, and do space. Find the one that you want. If it has a red box around it, it can't be used as a background. So find the one that you want, click on it, and then select. And then you will see that the background is right there on the page, all the way to the bleed edges. For any reason you don't want that background, you can just remove it. Now, there are a few special features right here, such as crop. So if you want to crop that image, you can crop it. So you want to bring it up just a little bit more. Maybe you want a little bit more of that on that page, and you can do that. We can come up here to Snap Tool, which we'll actually talk about Snap Tool here in a second here. But you can also flip and actually rotate this image. So you can do all kinds of different things with the background that you wish. Under Snap Edit right here, if you want to turn that into a black and white background, you can. You want to turn it into a little old-timey photo, you can. Sometimes adding an overlay, you can change kind of a little bit of the way that it looks or colorize. You could change, you could add a little bit of just different color right here, change brightness, contrast. But yeah, the Snap Edit, you can change a few things. I'll show you some of the things that I've done uh, here in a second, right here. But that is the background. You can add, like I said, solid color, one of ours. You can make your own background and add it as well, as long as it is 8.5 by 11. But you got to add an eighth of an inch because you got to take that trim line into account. All right, so let's talk about this Snap Edit, and let's go ahead and put an image right here on the page. Now we have an image here, and maybe we want to fix, a couple of these images here, right here. You can do that with this Snap Edit. With this image, we can click on here. We can click on Snap Edit. Here we have brightness, contrast, and saturation. Here we can change the brightness. We can maybe bring it down just a little bit. The contrast, maybe bring it up just a touch. Maybe bring the saturation up. Maybe bring the brightness up just a little bit. And maybe we could fix that photo just a little bit. Um, kind of credit. It's not a broad fix, but sometimes a few images here and there just maybe need a little bit of a tweak, and that's what the Snap Edit is great for. Just making small little tweaks here and there. Now, once we hit save, it's not going to overwrite the original image. So don't worry about the original image being overwritten. It's just going to create another copy of it right here. You see at the bottom here, we have the original and we have the copy. So we bring this original over so you can kind of see the two difference right there. Same thing, we can take this image and we can brighten it up just a little bit, bring the contrast, saturation down a little bit, maybe fix a little bit of contrast a little more. There we go, and then just click save, go back up. So here we have, well, here. So here we have the original versus the image we just took into Snap Edit and updated just a little bit more. So you can kind of see the two. So that's what Snap Edit is for. It's to kind of help make slight changes here and there. And there's also another feature with Snap Edit. So we can take this image right here and this little spot right here to the left of them, just a lot of empty space, but we want to kind of trim that empty space a little bit. So we can click on mask. Then we can go to eraser. Here we can mark mask as transparent. Here's the brush size and the tolerance. So we're going to go to brush size a little bit bigger, and we're going to make a big space right here. And then we can always come back and clean it up a little bit. Once we do that, we're just adding a mask. And if we do something like that, we just kind of get into the actual image. We can come over here next to eraser, and we can go to unerase, and basically what we're doing is we're just removing that mask. That's all we're doing is removing that mask. Then we can click on save, and there we go. We just removed a background off an image, and then we can always bring this image over kind of right here. All right. So another thing we may want to do is what I kind of like is we're going to go back over here. We're going under mask, under transparent. We're going to select black and white. Come to the eraser, and we're going to do this. A little bit of a bold brush stroke here, and then we can always go back in and clean things up by taking this brush right here, a little bit smaller, and then we can clean it up just a little bit right here. Erase tool, clean that up. And then what we can do is we can just highlight this student and what they're doing and kind of just ignore the background and just another design style. So just doing that, and of course, you can always zoom in. You can always go back to the mask, and you can always zoom in right here. Um, take it back to the original, zoom in right here, and then you can always zoom in and take care of these little um, final touch ups right there. But it's just something that you can do right there, just kind of highlight the student or highlight what's going on with what the student is doing. That's something else that Snap Edit has. So let me show you some of these other pages. You can actually take some of our clip art. So you can actually take some of our clip art. You can actually add an overlay and a colorize. So you can actually change the coloring of some of our clip art. Some of it works great. Like here's the coffee mug. in just a white outline. You could take a overlay and add a different color. You could take some of our other ones works well. Some of them kind of don't. But that's just colorize and overlay right here. Here is the original and edits, and this was all done using the clip art or the snap edit right here. So here you can see some of these images were just cleaned up just a little bit using the snap edit. And then here are some of the ones like you could take a mascot, add a colorize, and go into the transparency and just edit half of it. And then right here, you can actually just take one, put it yellow, take this one right here, put it on top, and then you just have like the school colors right here, the school color here. You could do this was just the regular one with the blue, black, and then the blue, red, and the white right here to kind of create like a little American flag look on the mascot. So one last thing we want to talk about is the history tab right here. Uh, while you're going through all this and while you're doing this, for any reason that you need to go back a page or something's messed up or you just want to completely undo everything so you don't have to sit there and delete everything one at a time or whatever, you can click on history. Here we have today, yesterday, last week, this week. An older version takes us all the way back to the very first page. So to undo or to bring these pages back to where they were, all you have to do is just copy and just click and hold, drag it over, and it'll just you can just put it right there, and it just brings those pages back to where they were before. Every time you hit save, it saves a copy of that page right here. So for any reason you need to come back, you can always come back and add that page back. Oh yeah, here real quick. Crop image. You can't crop images. So if you have an image right there and you need to, or you want to focus on just what the student is doing, what you can do is just put the image on there, double click, and you'll see these little four yellow boxes. You can just sit there and stretch, and it will stretch the image, but it will keep that original size of the box right here. Then when you click to the side, there you will have the image stretch right there. All right, let me read this outro here real quick, and then we'll open it up to questions. So I want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. These demonstrations of the functions related to the creation of activity pages may help when it comes time to build your yearbook. Using these templates already in the program and building your own templates should help save some time and give a book more continuity. Feel free to join us next time. This will be next year, probably around March for the final steps. This will we will talk about submitting your book, things you need to do if you have already rebooked with us. Those things you need to do to make sure you have images and templates and everything else for next year. We will talk about that in the book then too. All right. So I thank you all for showing up at this time. If you have any questions, you can take yourself off mute and ask, or you can type it in there in chat. So if there's anything that you need, you want further explained, or you want me to show you again, I can. So to save pages, all you have to do is go up to File and Save. So if I drag something on here, there is a save icon right here. There's also a File and Save right here. As far as submitting pages, we can talk about that later on in the next year, where we get ready to submit pages. By submitting pages, you're basically telling us that that page is ready to print. So that's something that you need to make sure your whole book is ready to go and finished before you think about submitting a page. Yes, it is a manual process to make sure that uh, these boxes are evenly spaced. We don't currently have uh, the option of getting those to getting these evenly spaced. So you're just going to have to go in and manually do it yourself. Those will be probably about late February, early March, and we'll have send out reminders for the submitting your page webinar, because we highly suggest everyone attend it, or at least sign up for it to get that video. Yeah, we don't have that. That's not in our book. That's a Yeah, that's one feature we don't have in this book. That if your lead was able to do that, that's chances are they were different. Same company, just a different book. And you are welcome. And if any of you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. Yeah, the flow. Um, so your other person may have done this, but they may have gone to like portrait, and we're going to say about this right here. So you can get the portrait right there, and that all your portrait stuff is set up. Your flow elements will always be even, and you can always go in and adjust things. Um, so like here, say we just want one less box, but we want to adjust these, maybe one less row, and make these a little bit taller. You will see that I mean, they're still saying evenly spaced. In fact, we can even go in and maybe add a little bit of more of a space between them. We do something like this, add a little more space between them. Yeah, so chances are it might have been the different book, because evenly spacing things is one thing I would really like to have. All right. And if there's no more questions, I thank you all very much for being here. If you think of something, don't hesitate to email or call, and I can help you with that. Um, we will have um, building activities webinar probably in December, just in case somebody missed it, or if you have questions about something, or if you think of things as you're doing your book, we'll have another webinar. Things will go out for that one as well. So until then, have a good rest of the year, or rest of this year anyway, first half of the year, and hopefully we'll see you for the final stages.